Like, talk about being crazy. Cyberpunk 2077 is now 4 years old, and with CDPR seemingly out of nowhere updating the game again with 2.2, which introduced a whole bunch of new features, especially around customization. Essentially, expressing yourself, I think, is the official name they gave it, which is interesting because they brought an outside studio for it. So maybe Cyberpunk is still going to be relevant. Maybe this is their way of doing it while they focus on future games. I guess time will tell. With that out of the way, I want to give like a retrospective on Cyberpunk as it just turned 4 years old. So let's get started here. You all remember that metro system that people wanted when the game first came out? Well, here it is in fashion. Basically, how it works: you'd go to one of these random locations throughout Night City, called the Night City Area Rapid Transit. And basically, once you do, you click on Ride Metro, and you just click a random location that where these specific stations are at. So basically, once you pick your route, you just go in, cutscene, loading screen, you shit it, and then you transit over to the train, which is pretty darn cool. Sure, it wasn't there when the game first released. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but who knows though? I mean, who really knows what went on because the development of Cyberpunk is notorious. It was notorious, but yeah, it's cool. You could just ride the train. It's also a form of fast travel, so if you don't really care about the train ride, you could just use it as fast travel. So that's a pretty cool way. It's still definitely cool that he added it. So kudos to CDPR for doing that. This was in 2.1, by the way. Now, y'all remember the play system and how buggy and broken it was? Well, with 2.0, it got a major overhaul. As you can see here, this is essentially how it works. You just go up, kind of shoot, and obviously, or you kill a random NPC. But in this case, I shoot the cop and kill him. And so now I make my move to escape. And what's different about it now is that where you actually have some lead time to escape before more police arrive to try to find you and hunt you down. Which, of course, they spotted me, obviously, and now they give chase. Because remember, when Cyberpunk first released, they would just pop out of nowhere. And you could easily escape them, like, pretty darn easily. Now, with this overhaul, it actually behaves like an actual police system, which is kind of insane because Oblivion from Elder Scrolls series had a better wanted system than Cyberpunk when Cyberpunk first released 4 years ago. But again, that's because the game was rushed horribly out the door. So, you know what I mean? Where the fact that police system was broken, but hey, we have an actual working police system now. So, that's a big deal. Now, moving on from that, we actually have this, which is your customization. They actually overhauled the skill tree, so another big overhaul that they did to Cyberpunk with Update 2.0. Basically, how it works is where you have both your cyberware and your actual character, where they updated the skill tree for that as well. For instance, with the skeleton, I needed to get to level 3, which I've done that since I recorded this footage. So, it's kind of the updated skill tree, so it definitely looks better and more organized and everything. So, the relic is related to the DLC, where you can unlock even more abilities for that to customize V. So yeah, definitely plenty of customization with how they changed everything with Cyberpunk. Moving on from that, y'all remember how sometimes the civilians would just cower, basically? Well, here's how they react now. So, while they actually obviously react like normal people would when a gun's being shot at. So more realistic AI. So they definitely improved the AI of both the police and just normal NPCs. Now another feature they added, which is this, there's with certain cars you can actually do car customization. You can actually change the color of it, which they added, I believe it was 2.1 or 2.0, one of the two. It's been a while since those updates first released. So yeah, I mean, just even more customization. So basically that's it with 2.0. Now let's move on to Phantom Liberty, which was obviously a huge change when Cyberpunk, when that DLC first released, along with 2.0 last year. And so, as part of one of the new things you could do, where it involves one of the fixers from the main game, where it involves a huge new side quest of his, where you have to find these random cars throughout both Night City and Dogtown. Essentially, how it works is where once you get access to that vehicle, you need to drive it to a specific location, and in some cases, they add some twist to it. Like, for instance, sometimes you would have to kill enemies that are trying to gun you down to stop you, or or maybe both at the same time, which that has happened, like where there would actually be a time limit as an optional objective too. So if you actually complete, you get a bonus. So yeah, I've definitely it's some of them are harder than others. Not gonna lie to you, some of them are definitely tricky, but I haven't failed any of them. Granted, but they're still pretty tricky. Not gonna lie. But yeah, another cool thing to do with Night City in Cyberpunk 2077 now. I'm still not done with the side quests, but I've definitely done a lot. So really wonder how many they packed throughout Night City with that. Anyway, moving on from the next one, this is another new thing they added with Dogtown. Basically, out of nowhere, these crates will essentially fall out of the sky. And basically, once that happens, a bunch of enemies will just rush it, trying to claim it for themselves. So basically, what you have to do is, get to that objective. You can see by the red smoke, kill every single enemy in sight, whether it's a criminal or whatever faction is patrolling the area. I think it's Bar Heast, I think. I probably said it wrong. Which is essentially the police of freaking Dogtown, essentially, because of who is in charge of it, pretty much. It's essentially like their corporation, pretty much, I guess, if that makes sense. But anyways, though, once you clear all the enemies out, you can proceed to hack into it. And once you're successful, essentially you can get like new loot, credits, or AKA eddies, new components to upgrade whatever you need to do. So just stuff like that, kind of like how you would hack any other thing in Night City. So again, something pretty darn cool with Cyberpunk after when the DLC first released last year. Now, kind of wrap things up real quick. Can I recommend Cyberpunk nowadays? Yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's one of my favorite games from this generation of consoles. I know it's like I play it on PC now, but that's kind of the whole thing, though. You know what I mean? Because I played the game first on Xbox Series when it came out. So, but yeah, Cyberpunk is amazing now. Say it would have released, say, I don't know, today. It definitely would be a worthy Game of the Year nomination, if not win it. Because like the story is incredible, both the main story and the DLC. Hell, I'd argue that the DLC is better than the main story in terms of how it plays out. And if you like do it right, you could actually unlock a new ending for the main story. I know it's like controversial. I know what it is though. I never done it myself, but I'm aware of what it is, so I'll keep that in mind. So it was controversial when it first released, like because I remember people talking about it when the expansion first came out. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 in 2024, absolutely freaking worth it. It is definitely a No Man's Sky redemption arc. Like, truly, it's good. They've gone above and beyond. And credit to CDPR, instead of just giving up on the game like other studios would have, with a launch that was so controversial and terrible, like Cyberpunk was, especially on console. Yeah, like they definitely turned this shit around, and hopefully they kind of learned how not to repeat the same mistakes with Witcher 4 and obviously Cyberpunk 2, whatever they end up calling it. Because they're calling it a sequel to 2077, so I assume it's going to continue the story somehow, which it will be very interesting to see how that plays out. With both, what ending they choose and so on and so forth. But hey, who knows though, but yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 is freaking amazing, and I really cannot recommend it enough. If I were to give a score on it now, as of right now, with all the updates and everything, with Phantom Liberty including everything, I'd give it a 9.5. Like I said, it's one of my favorite story-based games from this generation. So, yeah, highly recommend Cyberpunk 2077. Highly recommend it. So, if you've played Cyberpunk before, now or in the past, what did you think of the game? I'm curious to see what everybody thinks of it, especially nowadays with everything that's happened to it. So I'll be reading your comments, and it's gonna be interesting. I'll be interested to see what you guys say. But anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Till then, have a good one.